I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
Silly Jedi! Silly Jedi!
Remember, the Force will be with you, always.
You must unlearn what you have learned.
Hello, what have we here?
Hello there.
At last! Where have you been?
Nice of you guys to drop by.
Ah, good. New acquisitions.
I don't know. I have a bad feeling about this.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Star Wars Car Talk. I am Maurice from Jedi Toy Masters. If you're not following us on Instagram, you should do that because I'm on there. Jedi Toy Masters on Instagram. There is also a Star Wars Car Talk Instagram account. I post these episodes, these video episodes in video form up there as well. And right here on our YouTube channel, if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you so much for tuning in. And if you would be so kind to please like and subscribe. And after this, you can check out some of our other videos that we have on here. A lot more episodes of Star Wars Car Talk and some, some toy unboxings and some reviews and some reactions. Just me and my boys loving Star Wars. I got me and my three little Jedi loving Star Wars and loving Star Wars toys, and it's all a beautiful thing to be a fan of Star Wars these days. Man, it was an amazing week leading up to last night. At the time of recording this, we watched the Book of Boba Fett, Chapter 6, last night, and it was torture to get through the day without being spoiled, but also being aware of everyone being so excited and so, oh my gosh, this is amazing, and I can't spoil it for anybody, but oh my gosh, just, like that type of environment, to be in that environment of just, you can tell, the excitement on social media was palpable. That's what I'm trying to say. And it was, wow. It was really hard to get through the day. And as a family man, we have our routines. So I couldn't just come home and just sit down and watch it immediately. You got to do your parenting stuff. We have the dinner time, and we have, the bath time and the PJ time, and then we usually have family time right before bed. So family time last night and every Wednesday for the last 6 weeks has been the Book of Boba Fett. And that's exactly what we did. Luckily, the boys, were kind of, they kind of know the deal. So they immediately knew that they needed to be done with homework and bath and have their PJs ready, and so that way when I come home, all I got to do is have dinner with them, and then we can just settle down and sit down and watch, and that's exactly what we did. It was exciting. So we sat down, popped it on, and my goodness, I did a little Instagram live, literally 30 minutes after we finished watching it, and I went and I tucked the boys in and said goodnight and everything. And I came downstairs and I did a little live just because I just wanted to document my reaction to how I was feeling at that moment. And it's on our Instagram account if you want to check it out at Jedi Toy Masters. But it was one of those things where I had no words. There were no words. And also there was I almost felt man, I'm almost afraid. I'm afraid to like this. I'm afraid to say that this was really good because I know, and that's the thing, that's the thing about the critical, I don't even know what to call it, but I guess I can just say the critical environment, the critical culture, the CC, the critical culture that we have, where, I feel because of social media and because of just how much we are in communication with each other through social media and the internet, and also able to people that we would look up to, or people that are part of something, you know, like a Mark Hamill. Like, if I want to know what Mark Hamill's up to, I just got to go to his Twitter account and see what he wrote about, you know. And it's like we have like that, almost that social media quasi real access to these people now than we ever did. Of course, there's people like George Lucas that are very reclusive, and we don't really know, we don't hear about him, we don't know anything about him. But for the most part, it's like everyone, we have access to everything, and we have access to information, and like, you know, the hiding and not spoiling things for a movie is like this real thing now, and it's this real threat. Where before it was kind of just like kids in the playground talking about rumors and I heard that there's going to be another Star Wars movie, and that Luke Skywalker turned into a robot, and yeah, and you know, I mean, it was like that kind of thing growing up. You know, it was like hearsay and rumors and making up stuff and wanting to believe the good stuff that you hear because, oh my God, that's really good. Excuse me. But all that to say, because of that, we have now this like critical culture where the minute, you know, we watch something, we got to talk about it. But not just talk about it, we have to like break it down and critique it and sit on a like panel of judges and basically say like, well, this was good, and no, this was not good, and well, this was bad because, you know, X, Y, and Z. Oh, well, I liked it because X, Y, and Z. Well, you know, you're wrong. You know, like, and it's it's like this, and it's this whole, it's kind of toxic. It's good in the sense that, you know, like I love watching like a good breakdown. You know, places like New Rock Stars on YouTube and Screen Crush on YouTube. Like those are like right now like my two go-to places when I want a Marvel movie or something Star Wars broken down. I want to know the Easter eggs. Mr. Sunday Movies on YouTube as well. Like I want to know, like if I want to know a breakdown or something that I missed, you know, like, or if there's something I didn't understand because I didn't understand the history of that particular thing. These videos, these other, you know, YouTubers and fans are really good at breaking that stuff down, and that's what I really like. They're also really good at pointing out things to kind of make you think, like, oh, that is interesting. That's an interesting point. I didn't think of it that way. But the flip side of that coin is, we also have people that are just, if you like something too much, well, there's something wrong with you. And because you don't know what you saw, because look at all these things that are horrible about it. And that is like the critical culture aspect that I mean, that caused me to almost be afraid to like this as much as I did, because it's almost like, well, I don't want to seem like a crazy fanboy that doesn't know how to distinguish good from bad, mediocre from excellence, you know, and you know, it's like so ridiculous. So the cat's out of the bag. A spoiler alert, guys. If you haven't watched chapter 6 of the Book of Boba Fett, you better pause this, go watch it, and then come back, because there's going to be spoilers from this point on. And wow, what an episode. I gotta say, as far as Star Wars content, you know, on Disney Plus, not including the original trilogy or the prequel films, this was probably by far like one of my favorite Star Wars things, because, and I said it in my initial reaction on my Instagram Live, that it's as though it's like, on the one hand, it's as though you got a bunch of Star Wars nerds, fans like me, in a room, and you said, guys, Uncle Charles is giving us $10 million, but we have to use the $10 million specifically to make our own Star Wars thing, our own Star Wars movie. and like a Star Wars short film. And so let's brainstorm. Like, what can we do? And so we have $10 million. We can do whatever we want. Like, what do we do? And this is like a bunch of fans saying, "Oh my gosh, well, we got to have Luke Skywalker, and it has to be Luke Skywalker from Return of the Jedi, and he's got to be training the first Jedi of his new school, and we got to see the Jedi Temple that's being built, and oh my gosh, how cool would it be if Ahsoka was there?" And she's like, you know, checking him out, and like he says something, and then she just turns to him and she's like, "You're just like your father." Oh my God, how cool would that be? Yeah. And then like R2-D2's there, and like he's got the little antenna. He's like scouting the area for him, and he's using the little antenna from Return of the Jedi, Empire Strikes Back on Hoth. Yes. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. And then, oh my god. Oh, and the Mandalorian shows up because he's training Grogu. Yeah, he's training Grogu. Oh my gosh. And what if the Mandalorian is flying around in a shiny Naboo starfighter now? Like, instead of like the Razor Crest, he's got his Naboo starfighter now, and it's like souped up. It's like a supercar. It's like a muscle car now, and it matches his shiny armor. Yeah, that's awesome. Oh my gosh. Like that is like, wait, and then at some point we have to make it like a Western. Yeah, but is Luke gonna be there? No. This is gonna be like something else, like on Tatooine. And oh yeah, that dude Cobb Vanth from season 2 of Mandalorian. Like what if he has like a showdown in his town because he's like the marshal? Yeah. But who is he gonna have a showdown with? Let me see. Got it. It's a Western. It's a showdown. It's a gunslinger. Cad Bane, dude. Yeah, we should put Cad Bane in there. Yeah. And this is what this episode was. It's like, it's unbelievable. It's like when I go up to the playroom with my sons and we open up the Star Wars figure holder container that we have, and we just dump all the figures and we pick out some of the figures that we want, and we just immediately start making up stories. That is what this episode is. So on the one hand, it is just amazing on that level. Amazing that we got to see live action Cad Bane. We got to see young Luke post Return of the Jedi training a Jedi. We got to see little Grogu training to be a Jedi. We got to see Luke and Ahsoka interact in live action form with the fan like almost like the fan cast of Ahsoka, which is Rosario Dawson. Like the fans basically cast her in that role. We got to see a Star Wars fan who's a YouTuber be the one that does the deep fake to make Luke Skywalker work in this episode. Michael French from Retro Blasting, another great YouTube channel, if you're into vintage toys and 80s pop culture and that kind of thing, he always says this thing, which is, he says the fans are doing the best work. And the context of that statement is that there are fans that are making reproduction vintage Star Wars Kenner toys and figures that maybe were never released, and there are fans out there that are actually creating these things, making extra parts and stuff like that for your vintage toys, and making just brand new creations altogether. And so he always says, the quality of this stuff is amazing. The fans are doing the best work. Because obviously Hasbro doesn't think that that's important, and they release like 3 figures a year and make us pre-order them. That's a topic for another day. The fans are doing the best work. When you think about it, the fans are doing the best work. The fans are the ones making these shows. You have Jon Favreau, who is a huge fan. He also happens to be an amazing actor, an amazing director, producer, and he's got that clout. But at the end of the day, you pull all that off, he's a Star Wars fan like you and me. You have Dave Filoni, again, a huge Star Wars fan, but not only that, he is the disciple. He is the Padawan learner of the Grand Master, George Lucas. And at this point, Jon Favreau has moved on past Padawan. He's gone through the trials of doing the Clone Wars and doing the first season of The Mandalorian. I think it's pretty safe to say Dave Filoni is a master. He's been granted he's been granted master. He is a master now, and wow, of course he directed this episode, so it shows. You know, you have everyone from the cast and crew who are huge fans, and now people behind the scenes that are helping make this amazing are from the fans. So yes, this is quite literally the fans getting together and making their own Star Wars how they want and doing it with Disney money. That is an amazing accomplishment. That is an amazing thing. When you think about way back in the day when I remember there were a lot of fan films out. I remember watching some of these fan films. I remember watching. Do you remember the fan trailers? The fake fan trailers. I remember there was a trailer for what episode 2, Attack of the Clones, was going to look like, and it was a fan trailer, and they took footage of like Hayden Christensen from other roles that he's done on Canadian television, and they like mixed it in with all this, you know, they took a clip from like Braveheart, where there's like a battle, and they rotoscoped like lightsabers in everybody's hand and make it look like a bunch of Jedis fighting. Like, I remember watching that at that time and thinking, wow, this is really good. Like, this almost could pass for a real trailer for like I almost wish I hope this is what we get, you know? And a lot of these fan films, I remember watching them in the 2000s, early to mid 2000s, and thinking like, wow, these are really good. And of course, fan films have gotten better and better over time, to the point where now we are watching quite literally a fan film. We're watching a fan created program on a streaming service where you don't have to worry about copyright issues, because it is Star Wars and it is canon and it is created by the fans. And that is The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. Because, I mean, think about it. Boba Fett was dead. He was gone. His character was done. They brought him back in the comics and in books and stuff like that. But for all intents and purposes, that character was done. It only lived in legacy of our minds. And here he is in his own show. And I think I'm starting to realize that the Book of Boba Fett is not so much about Boba Fett. It's kind of like about what Boba Fett represents. Like, Boba Fett represents, you know, taking something that you thought was over and kind of like resurrecting it and getting a second chance at it, and saying, you know what? Like, we don't have to play by the rules. You know, George Lucas didn't play by the rules. His movies were all over the place. Star Wars is really all over the place, especially the prequels where he had the most control. They're all over the place. They are like just creative things that are literally all over the place. And they are in the container, held in the container of Star Wars. But in that container, it's everything is spilling all over each other, all over it, you know. The Book of Boba Fett is kind of that. It's the most George Lucas thing that we've gotten since the prequels. Think about that. The Book of Boba Fett, because The Mandalorian really has been a more of a structured story, following through line, with a lot of nostalgic and a lot of like expanded universe. You know what I mean? The Book of Boba Fett is quite literally the closest thing to the prequels that we've ever gotten. It is the most George Lucas thing, and I would not be surprised if George Lucas has ghost written a lot of the treatments for a lot of these stories. It would not surprise me, because everything from the colorful speeder gang, the mods, to like seeing 2 of Jabba's cousins like being carried, you know, by these servants through Tatooine, to like jumping from the Book of Boba Fett story, all of a sudden jumping back to Mandalorian, and then jumping to Luke Skywalker, and then jumping back to Boba Fett, and just how it's just like, it doesn't care about narrative as much as just like I don't care that you think we're supposed to stay with this little story about Boba Fett, and you know, and you feel like, oh my God, it's such a small story. Like, what are the implications of this? No. We're gonna go all over the place. We're jumping to Mandalorian. We're gonna show you a little bit of that. We're going to spend some time with him. We're going to show you, hey, Book of Boba Fett and Mandalorian, they work together. That's cool. But Mandalorian also he's got Grogu on the mind, and where's Grogu? He's with Luke, so we're going to go check on that as well. If you think about it too much, then you're just gonna get bogged down with like, where's the story structure, and like, where are we going, and like, what these flashbacks. You gotta, if you let go of all that and you just enjoy this for what it is a plethora of Star Wars goodness, and it's like really amazing moments and scenes and pieces of story that are interwoven together. I mean, like George Lucas would say, like, it's like poetry, it all rhymes, it's like poetry. I mean, it is. The Book of Boba Fett is like, it's not so much like the Book of Boba Fett is not so much like a chapter by chapter story. Yeah, they're saying like chapter 1, chapter 2, but it's really like, it's almost as if it's like this flowing story. It's very lucid. You don't know where it's really going to go. It's getting into every crevice. It's just flowing. And it's going to take us into a lot of different places, but the places that it's taking us to, they're all connected. All the places that this is going is connected to the main story. It's not sloppy writing. When you think about the Syndicate, when you think about the Pikes, this is stuff that goes back all the way to Clone Wars, to Ahsoka interacting with these individuals, to the origins of Han Solo, to Kira and Darth Maul, to the Mandalorian, to Boba Fett. Like, it's all connected. So it's going to be really cool to see. It's a shame that they kind of, the one thing that I think they messed up a little is that it's only 7 episodes. Like, chapter 7 next week is it. Like, that's it. That's the finale of this season. We don't know if there's going to be another Book of Boba Fett. Honestly, I hope that there isn't. Like, I hope that really the Book of Boba Fett is really what we saw in his flashbacks and what we saw in his resurrection, and what we're gonna see hopefully in chapter 7, his resolution, his conclusion of like where he ends up. I personally think that they're gonna kill him off. Like to have him continue on as like this ruler on Tatooine and taking over Jabba's, rule or whatever. Like, as far as we were concerned, he was dead when he fell in the Sarlacc, So I think this second chance that he's getting, he's got to make it count, and he's going to, I think, go out sacrificially. Maybe even, somebody had mentioned about maybe Boba Fett's going to give up his armor and give it to somebody. The only way I can see him doing that is if it's sacrificially, if he's already dead, he's already on his way out, and he gives that armor, to somebody else, and he gives it to the Mandalorian and says, give this to somebody that is worthy to wear it, or something like that. I think Boba Fett is going to go. I think he's going to go out in a blaze of glory, riding the Rancor, having a showdown with Cad Bane, getting revenge on Cad Bane. Because remember, it's I don't know if it's canon or not, but that dent on Boba Fett's helmet, it's from the last showdown that he had with Cad Bane. It's an unaired episode of Clone Wars where we were going to see. It's a story that was written out and partially animated and voiced, but it was never realized on screen, of a duel between Cad Bane and a very young Boba Fett. And Cad Bane, they're good. They're both fast. So it's just that Cad Bane is faster, and he basically hits Boba right in the helmet, right in the head, and it causes that dent, and that dent never goes away. So it'll be cool. It would be cool to see him duel with Cad Bane again, and this time he comes out on top. Or maybe they hit each other. You know, they're both just as fast, and they both take each other out. That would be kind of interesting. But it has to be like Boba Fett's out has to be in a blaze of glory, sacrificing himself, and it has to kind of set up something where he has a legacy. Like he will have a legacy because of what he's done. And Tatooine will never be the same because of Boba Fett. You know, like I think that's kind of like where we're headed. And honestly, somebody also mentioned, I heard in somebody's opinion, somebody's rumor or theory is that maybe Tatooine becomes the next Mandalore. Like, I don't think that'll happen. I think the season 3 of The Mandalorian is going to give us the return to Mandalore and the Mandalorians and how Din Djarin, the Mandalorian, fits into all that, and the Blacksaber, and also kind of the whole idea of, you know, who rules Mandalore and how does Grogu fit into the story, because he's obviously going to pick, as far as like him choosing, Luke making him choose whether the saber or the little chain link Beskar shirt, I think he's going to choose the lightsaber, and I think because he chooses the lightsaber, Luke is going to say, well then, but you have to help your friends, you know, because come on, Luke did the same thing, you know, he didn't finish his training, he went to go help his friends, it cost him. So at least if Grogu makes the right choice of saying, yeah, I know, I have to choose being a Jedi, it is the only way, I think it would be, that's the test. He passed the test, but he still should get to wear the little shirt and help his friend. And maybe that's how he finds out that Mandalorian needs help, you know, because he chooses the lightsaber, he chooses to be a Jedi. In you know, meditating with Luke or whatever, he sees the visions. He taps into that part of the Force, and he sees the visions of what the Mandalorian is going through in this battle, this epic battle in this next episode. And because of that, him and Luke go help. So, hey, I think that would be amazing. I think that'll be amazing. What if Luke Skywalker literally shows up with like Han Solo? And Chewbacca. How freaking amazing would that be? At Chapter 7, this season finale, maybe even series finale for the Book of Boba Fett, it needs to be over an hour. That's all I'm saying. Like, this thing needs to be like a mini movie. It needs to be at least like 70 to 90 minutes. Like no 37 minutes, no 42 minutes. No. This needs to be at least 70 to 90 minutes long. It needs to be at least an hour to an hour and a half. That's what we need for this. There's a lot of stuff to wrap up. There's a lot of stuff to also kind of, further set up for season 3 of The Mandalorian. And let me just say this. What if season 3 of The Mandalorian is almost wrapping up? Like, maybe they're already done filming it, and maybe they're almost already done putting the episodes together, and that's why they were able to, put all these 2 episodes of showcasing The Mandalorian and Grogu and Luke and all that in here. Maybe because that season 3 is already kind of like it's already wrapped. And maybe we get season 3 a lot sooner than we thought. We've not heard anything about the Obi-Wan series. We don't even know if the Obi-Wan series is being shot, if it's over. Like, Obi-Wan is probably in the middle of shooting right now. That's not coming out until probably the end of this year. Maybe they even push it for the beginning of next year. The Cassian Andor series, where the heck is that? That thing. I mean, we got shots of like the filming and the sets and all that stuff, like over a year ago, like before the pandemic started. That show was almost like in the middle of shooting, so that's got to be already done and wrapped. Where is that show going to fit? Because that goes back, so that's more connected to the Obi-Wan show. And then we have Ahsoka, which is going to start filming at some point this year, if not already started. So there's a lot of stuff happening. Lucasfilm and Disney, man, they're building a bunch of these studios with the volume and all that stuff. Like, they're rocking and rolling. They know that if they know that Star Wars is where it's at, and Star Wars is the butter for the bread. And if they want to continue having subscribers to Disney Plus, they need to keep giving us Star Wars content, because that's the only thing that's going to keep the subscribers on. Not releasing like old Disney shows and old Disney movies that only a handful of kids remember. That's not keeping the subscribers on there. It's Marvel stuff and Star Wars stuff that's keeping the Disney Plus subscribers on. So, and then like probably another percentage of people is just, parents like me that have very young kids and the kids, love watching all the shows and the movies and stuff like that, the Disney stuff. But for the most part, I think it's probably it's divided into three. It's little kids that love Disney movies, Disney shows, cartoons, all that. Then you have Star Wars and Marvel. I mean, that's it. And the overlap, obviously. But man, Chapter 6 was an amazing episode. I didn't want to really get into a breakdown of it, but I just want to say that I loved it. I was beside myself seeing Luke Skywalker. The deep fake technology, the face replacement, whatever it is that they're doing for Luke is amazing. I'm curious to know if they used the same stand-in actor that they used in the season finale of season 2 of The Mandalorian. I forgot his name. He was one of the X-Wing pilots in the last week's episode. I wonder if they used him as a stand-in and then just did the deep fake on the face. I know in the credits, they credit Mark Hamill in there. Obviously, because they're using his likeness. They're using the likeness of his voice as well. I doubt that they used Mark Hamill to do the voice. I believe they used that crazy software that is available now that can AI somebody's voice, which is kind of crazy because it sounded really good. I mean, there were some parts that did sound a little dry, but you can kind of chalk it up to the fact that he's talking to Grogu, and half of the conversation is taking place in their minds. So Grogu is communicating via the Force, the mind link, and Luke is just kind of answering back to him. So that's why he's kind of teaching him, and he's a child, so you speak differently to a child than you do to an adult. I think there were that's why the dialogue with Ahsoka was very limited, but it was good. It was good, man. The deepfake looked amazing. There were maybe like a few little moments where it did look a little weird. I think Luke's hair, looked a little off. But again, you could also say, well, this is after Return of the Jedi. Like, his hair is growing, his hair is changing. I mean, we don't look the same all the time, like our hair, So yeah, I can buy into that. I'd like to see Luke eventually, like, if we continue to see more of Luke, I'd like for him to kind of change up his outfit. Like, I mean, come on, how long is he going to continue to wear the black tunic? Eventually he's got to realize he needs to broaden his wardrobe a little bit. But again, it was amazing. I'm so happy. This episode was so great. I watched it twice. And I wanted more of Luke interacting with Ahsoka. That's probably the thing that I really wanted. I wanted them to have more of a conversation. Maybe Luke asking her questions about her dad and stuff like that. I mean, that all these conversations are happening, or they happened already. the one thing that I thought about was like, man, like, how did Luke not, like when Luke said to her, where the hell have you been? Like, everything that I went through, Obi-Wan died. We almost all died taking out the Empire. I could have used your help, man. Like, bro, where have you been? That's interesting. Like, I would love to know the answer to that. Like, what was Ahsoka's answer to that would be, like, where have you been? Obviously she was helping the rebels, the Star Wars rebels, and she was out looking for Ezra, but like beyond that, like, geez, Anyway, and then finally the showdown with Cad Bane and Cobb Vanth, that was just amazing. That was like perfect Western, just a Star Wars Western to perfection is what that was. I loved it. Cobb Vanth is alive. He's not dead. The deputy is dead. Cad Bane was performed amazingly using the same voice actor. I can't wait to see more of him. I can't believe we have a live action Cad Bane. I'm just beside myself. I'm beside myself with this episode. The future looks bright for Star Wars, guys. This episode really represents a lot, because it also proves that this type of stories that we saw in the animated shows, like Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels, can be done in live action, and it can be done well. And it also proves that we could potentially be on a road that undoes whatever damage the sequel trilogy did. I hate to hark back on that, but think about it. Getting to revisit this era and moving forward towards how the First Order happened, how Palpatine returned, how did all this happen? Like we haven't gone back to like see like why is the remnants of the Empire still trying to clone, and they still wanted Grogu? Remember all that? Like, we kind of forgot about all that, but that's still out there. The Empire is still out there. Obviously Moff Gideon is arrested and whatever, standing trial or whatever, but like where's the rest of these remnants of the Empire? It's going to be interesting to see how it all pans out. And I said it a long time ago. I believe Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, they are pushing the limits of technology and the limits of the story. They're pushing the story, pushing the narrative, pushing what they can get away with and what they can do. I think the end game is to really retrofit the sequel trilogy into Star Wars, because right now, I'm sorry, but I feel like the sequel trilogy is completely disconnected from the rest of Star Wars. It disconnected completely from making Episode 7 about nostalgia and redoing everything that was already done, killing off Han Solo, then killing off Luke, then killing off Leia, and really disconnecting from the original trilogy in a way that like that the time period of the sequel trilogy, which is like the closest to the present, like who wants to be there? Like, who wants to be there? I did not like that. I didn't like that era. I didn't like that time period. Like, give me prequel era, give me original trilogy era, and give me like the post Return of the Jedi era that we're in right now all day. If we're gonna have to go there, and we will because of the passage of time, at least fix the road so that it's not so bumpy to getting there. And I think that's what they're doing. So guys, what did you think of Chapter 7 of the Book of Boba Fett? As I like to call it, Chapter 7 of the Book of Boba Fett, the rise of Grogu Skywalker, guest starring the Mandalorian and Cad Bane. What did you think? Let me know in the comments below. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe. If you're listening to us in podcast form, please share and give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, because it helps the show get discovered. And hit me up on Instagram at Jedi Toy Masters as well. Again, I'm Maurice. Thank you so much for listening to me and watching. And man, I can't believe it. Let's start a conversation. Let me know what you think. I know I missed a bunch of stuff. I know that I'm probably missing some of the things that I could have nitpicked. I know. I'm just so excited because it was great. It was great. Come on, if you're a Star Wars fan, just admit it. You loved it. Anyway, guys, have a great one. And remember,
The Force will be with you, always.